In the happily ever after of the story, the fake heir finally got his wish and became engaged to the 3 female CEOs. While everyone was cheering and celebrating, only I raised my knife and slit my wrist. Ever since arriving in this world, I'd worked hard to win the favor of those 3 female CEOs, died twice, revived twice. Now, my last chance had failed too. The system said that as long as I destroy this body, it would send me home. Before consciousness faded, I heard someone break down in tears, desperately trying to revive my body. Sadly, the soul had already scattered. I no longer had any chance of resurrection. The moment of death didn't actually hurt. I've already died twice before, but this time is different. I won't be resurrecting again. Death means I can finally go home. I couldn't wait to leave this place. The knife slashed violently across my wrist, sending bright red blood spraying out, staining my clothes crimson. The pain stabbed through flesh like a blade, yet a perverse thrill of self-destruction rose within me. When I first transmigrated into this world, the system told me the mission was simple: just win the genuine love of one female CEO, earn 100% of her affection, and I could prevent them from falling into darkness. As long as they don't fall into darkness, the world will be at peace, and my mission will be accomplished. The 3 female CEOs are my childhood friend, my elder sister, and that cold and aloof university senior of mine. For over a decade, I've tried every possible way to win their affection, only to fail time and time again because of Caleb Vance. They despise me to the core, willing to let me die for his sake. This time, I've finally decided to give up and leave this world forever. The blood kept flowing, my consciousness grew increasingly hazy as I lay in bed, quietly awaiting the moment death would arrive. I knew you'd cause trouble. My wrist was seized violently, the pain forcing me to curl into a trembling ball. A woman in a red dress stood by the bed, looking down at me with undisguised disgust. "Chloe?" I stared at her blankly as my awareness gradually returned. "Did you save me?" As soon as the words fell, the woman furrowed her brows and threw the bloodstained knife to the ground. "Keep dreaming. Whether you live or die means nothing to me." My whole body stiffened, and I let out a self-deprecating laugh. Right. Chloe Miller had always been blunt and straightforward, never one to mince words. My junior from university and the first person I ever tried to woo, my fiancée, bound to me through our family's long-standing marriage arrangement. Though born into a wealthy family, she was switched at birth by a nanny and grew up in hardship, suffering countless hardships. At the age of 10, when she returned to her wealthy family, she still suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. I spent every day talking with her, helping her reconcile with her parents, and soothing her emotions. As days passed, she gradually recovered, and her life in the wealthy family slowly fell into place. We grew up together, and I was once the person she trusted most. The Millers and the Reeds had a pre-arranged marriage alliance, and Chloe and I grew up together. Our affection meter even reached 90% at one point. I thought the romance quest would soon be completed, until Caleb Vance appeared before us. He insisted he was the true heir of the Reed family, while I was just a thief who stole his identity. He even claimed I knew all along about being an impostor, that I'd orchestrated the breaking of his limbs to steal both his inheritance and fiancée, and that he'd narrowly escaped death. After this incident, everyone in high society looked down on me. Chloe was especially furious with me. Her affinity for me instantly dropped to zero. She annulled our engagement and personally broke my limbs. I too once had my life stolen by an impostor. I despise thieves like you the most. Caleb was always meant to be my fiancé, but I'm the real one. I don't know why Caleb had a DNA test report in his hands, but there it was in black and white. He was blood related to the Reed family. Yet clearly, I am the true member of the Reed family. No matter how I explained, it was useless. She always believed I had deceived her. To vent her anger for Caleb, she had my limbs broken, then arranged for medical treatment, only to break them again before they could fully heal. This cycle repeated until she had thoroughly vented her hatred, tormenting me for an entire year. Over the next few years, she stood by with cold indifference, watching me endure torment and bullying, wishing with all her heart that I would die. But what she didn't know was that during her repeated torture, I had already died once. It was the system that gave me a chance at resurrection, allowing me to continue my mission. Ethan Reed, today is Caleb's big celebration. I just knew you'd be green with jealousy and stirring up some trouble. I shook my head with a bitter smile. She actually thought I was using this method to garner sympathy. If you'd rather see me dead, why stop me from killing myself? Just let me die already, she said. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her further and picked up the knife from the ground. Chloe's expression froze before she sneered. If you want to die, at least don't pick today. Must you choose this exact moment to make trouble for Caleb? She slapped the knife out of my hand, her face full of scorn. Cutting so shallowly, aren't you just waiting to be found and saved? This sympathy-grabbing act of yours is truly pathetic. If you really wanted to die, why not jump off a building? Sterling Tower is 500 meters tall. You'd turn into a bloody pulp when you hit the ground. Dare you try that? I shuddered violently, staring at her in disbelief. What a vicious way to die. She was certain I didn't truly want to die, but today I was going to disappoint her. Fine, I said as I rushed out the door, heading in the direction of Sterling Tower. Sterling Tower, the landmark building of Newport City. It was the most famous structure of the Reed Group and served as my coming-of-age gift from my parents and sister on my 18th birthday. Yet this gift now belonged to Caleb Vance. Without thinking, I rushed to the highest rooftop, climbed over the railing, and leaped into the void. "Goodbye, damn world," I shouted, eyes shut tight as I plummeted downward. Mid-sentence, someone suddenly grabbed my arm with a death grip, leaving me dangling from the rooftop's edge. "Ethan Reed, you actually jumped. Do you have any idea where this is?" Several people frantically scrambled to pull me back. Chloe's face turned deathly pale, her beautiful peach blossom eyes staring at me intently. "You knew I was following you, that I wouldn't just watch you die, so you actually dared to jump?" I roughly shook off her hand, looking baffled. "Don't you desperately want me dead? Why did you save me when I was truly about to die?" Chloe's eyes were bloodshot, brimming with fury. Her teeth ground together audibly as she took deep, measured breaths. Watching her struggle to contain her anger, I suddenly remembered when she had first returned to the wealthy family, that thin, petite girl shrinking into my arms, her face full of wariness. Just like now, she bristled like a kitten, pitiful yet adorable. Without thinking, I reached out to pinch her ear and ruffle her hair. Chloe froze in place, unable to regain her composure for a long while. She had summoned a group of security guards to stand watch here. There would be no jumping from Sterling Tower now. I turned and headed downstairs. After a brief pause, Chloe strode after me. "I'll only save you this once. Don't cause any more trouble. Our senior and Caleb are truly in love. No amount of meddling will change that." Even now, she still thinks I'm jealous of Caleb, deliberately stirring up trouble. I couldn't be bothered to explain, just kept walking with my head down when I caught a whiff of familiar perfume. It was Chanel's classic scent, elegant and refined. I stopped in my tracks and slowly looked up. My sister's aloof face appeared before me. "Come to Sterling Tower to make trouble? Why didn't you just die up there?" I took a step back, gazing at Jessica Reed's exquisite features, now filled with impatience. She never used to look at me this way. Since childhood, with our parents constantly busy at work, it was my sister Jessica who took care of me. Though cold toward others, she showed warmth only to me. During my loneliest moments, Jessica was the one who always stayed by my side. Touched deep in my heart, I devoted myself wholeheartedly to her, not merely out of obligation. I truly love my sister. That's why when she wanted control over Reed Group, I willingly withdrew from the air competition, determined to become her right hand and help fulfill her ambitions. When she found out everything I'd done for her, she defied all opposition and built the Sterling Tower for me. On the night of the tower's completion, fireworks lit up the sky. "Ethan, sister wishes you everlasting peace and prosperity, with boundless joy and brilliance." Touched to the core, I thought even if I failed with the other two female leads, at least my sister would genuinely care for me. I was bound to succeed. The closeness of blood ties never lies. But on the day of my coming-of-age ceremony, Caleb Vance appeared in a pitiful state of weakness. The truth about the fake heir was exposed. On that day, I not only lost my fiancée but also my elder sister who had loved me since childhood. I became an identity thief who harmed Jessica's real younger brother. "Ethan Reed, you're utterly despicable. You disgust me." It was the first time I saw Jessica in a rage, watching helplessly as her favorability toward me, which had never dropped below 95%, plummeted to zero. She drove me out of the house and took everything I had. The Sterling building no longer belonged to me. I, Jessica Reed, have my own biological brother. How could I allow an impostor like you to remain in the Reed family? From today onward, we cut all ties and ceased to be related. Being chased out like a stray dog wasn't enough. They said I owed Caleb too much and had to atone for my mistakes. Caleb fell ill and needed a blood transfusion to save his life. We shared the same blood type, a rare one at that. They decided to use my blood to save Caleb. One was my fiancée, the other my own sister, both women I had loved, yet they pretended to care, drugged me. When I woke up again, I was lying in a hospital bed, watching helplessly as my blood slowly drained away. Caleb was successfully treated, but I lost too much blood. Lying in that hospital bed, I tried to call for help until the color drained completely from my body, and I died on the spot. Although the system later revived me again, every time I think of this incident, I'm overwhelmed with excruciating pain and suffocating agony. Seeing my pale face and trembling body, Chloe's expression changed slightly. "Sister, it seems he couldn't accept Sophia and Caleb's marriage and almost jumped off the building to kill himself just now." Jessica scoffed and shook her head. "How naive you are. How could he bear to die? Back when they just drew some blood, he was terrified out of his mind, shouting in the hospital fearing he'd die. Now he'd voluntarily want to die? He simply calculated you'd be following behind, and since I work at Sterling Tower, we'd surely stop him, that's all." She pointed dismissively. "The lab downstairs has plenty of lethal toxins, drink that and there's no coming back. If he wants to die, why wouldn't he just?" Before Jessica could finish, I shoved her aside and bolted toward the lab. The next second, piercing alarms blared through the building. Jessica's face instantly paled. The Sterling Building's labs housed research on all kinds of unknown pharmaceuticals. Caleb was frail. Though my blood had saved his life, he still fell ill often. To help him recuperate, Jessica stubbornly endured the pressure and allocated 20 entire floors in the Sterling Building to establish a laboratory. There, she researched medications that could aid Caleb while also allowing her to monitor the progress daily. Countless times, I worried about her safety and tried to persuade her to relocate the lab outside the Sterling Building. But with just a few painful coughs from Caleb clutching his chest, Jessica's heart would ache too much to consider it. If you hadn't taken Caleb's place and subjected him to endless torment, he wouldn't be this feeble now. I've finally found a way to help restore his health. How dare you stand in my way? From now on, I won't oppose her anymore. In fact, I should thank Jessica. Thank you for showing me a dead end. I tilted my head back and gulped down the liquid labeled with a danger sign. Excruciating pain struck instantly, and I spat out a mouthful of blood, scattering it like rain across the floor. Finally, I can finally go home. A satisfied smile crossed my face, but in the next moment, I was violently shoved to the ground. Jessica grabbed my arm tightly, yelling at the staff to give me the antidote. Are you insane? This stuff is extremely dangerous untreated. Are you trying to kill yourself? I spat out a mouthful of blood, grinning at her. Yeah, I told you long ago I wanted to die. They just wouldn't believe me. You're utterly unreasonable, blinded by emotion. Just because Sophia Hayes and Caleb Vance got engaged, is it really worth all this life or death drama? Her face turned ashen as she tremblingly wiped the blood from my lips. Tears and blood smeared across my face as I laughed through my crying. Right, if I wasn't blinded by emotion, how could I have let you deceive me into being blood-drained to death, while truly believing you were like a sister to me? Jessica's face turned pale as she stood frozen in place. What did you say? What death? Before she could finish speaking, the laboratory door was violently flung open. Ethan Reed, have you kidnapped Caleb again? Sophia Hayes stormed in, furious as a bloodthirsty beast. I lay on the ground, swallowing the blood surging in my throat, gazing through tears at the senior sister before me. She was the last target of my conquest. For this final chance, I spared no effort to please her, giving her everything I had. First, I was jilted by Chloe, then kicked out of the Reed family, left as the laughingstock of the entire circle. Falling into despair and breakdown several times, it was my senior who comforted and supported me. She stood up for me in front of everyone, giving me the chance to start anew. I used to think that Sophia Hayes was cold and aloof, the hardest to win over, so I left her for last. Yet within her gentleness, I saw the affection in her eyes. This feeling blossomed into mutual love after I risked my life to save her from a gangster's assault. I threw caution to the wind for her, and she was deeply moved. Let's pick a good day, register our marriage, and give our child a home. She gently caressed her belly, her voice full of tenderness. At that time, her fondness for me had reached 99%, and she was carrying our child. But in the end, I never got to see that happy day. Caleb disappeared again, and evidence of my collusion with the kidnappers was found on them. The police interrogated me day and night, while Sophia's eyes burned with fury and disappointment. 2 weeks later, they reached their conclusion. Caleb swore on his life that I had held a grudge against him and deliberately arranged for his kidnapping, the same gang that had assaulted Sophia earlier. Sophia trembled all over, glaring at me in fury. So when I was assaulted by those ruffians, that hero saving the beauty scenario was your design too? For the first time, the affection meter showed a negative value. Without hesitation, she aborted the unborn child. A man as treacherous and vicious as you deserves no right to be my child's father. Everything was gone. Gone was Sophia's trust in me. Gone was our unborn child. I tried every means to clear my name, only to receive the news that Sophia was about to become engaged to Caleb. She finally found her luck and wanted to get married. But the groom wasn't me. Caleb has a gentle temperament. The only person he's ever offended is you. Tell me, did you have something to do with his disappearance? Seeing me lying on the ground completely unafraid, Sophia's face twisted with hatred. I was just about to scoff and defend myself when a sudden flash of inspiration struck my mind. Why not simply admit it outright? Let them kill me with their own hands, better than finding another way to end my own life. Yes, I hit him. Go ahead and kill me. My mouth smeared with blood. I laughed wildly as I glared at them. Sophia's expression darkened, and she sharply slapped me across the face. Shameless. Death won't come so easily to you. You're out of your mind. Today I'll make sure you find neither life tolerable nor death attainable. Chloe gnashed her teeth, while Jessica's voice was icy. He's always been stubborn. Unless we teach him a lesson, he probably won't tell the truth. My face turned deathly pale, my scalp crawling with dread. I did want to die, but not to live a fate worse than death. No, by the time the first scream tore from my throat, Sophia had already pressed the stun gun against my temple. The current invaded my flesh, screaming as it tortured my muscles and blood. My shrill cries echoed as I felt my skull being shattered, my vision filled with blinding white light. Kill me. Please, just kill me. The merciless electricity tore through every muscle in my body, as if knives were dragging through my organs. My limbs trembled violently, convulsing uncontrollably. They truly loathed me. I lay in a pool of blood, vomiting and incontinent, pleading up at them with desperate eyes. Don't look at us with that disgusting expression. If Caleb hadn't been deceived by your vile gaze, he wouldn't have suffered so cruelly at your hands. Sophia tightened her grip on the stun gun, her eyes filled with revulsion. Tell me, what are you plotting against Caleb now? My teeth chattered from pain as I quivered and opened my mouth. I want him dead. He ruined my life like this. I want him dead. If you don't kill me today, I swear I'll kill him. Sophia's face paled dramatically as she abruptly cranked the voltage to maximum. The moment my heart stopped beating, I distinctly heard thunder roaring in the void. Host deceased. No revival opportunities remaining. Before my consciousness completely faded, the lab door swung open from the outside, and Caleb appeared in the doorway with a smile. I wanted to personally deliver the wedding invitation to Ethan, but couldn't get through to him. I heard he came here. Sophia's face abruptly changed color as she stared at my motionless body on the floor in utter disbelief. The moment the high-voltage current connected, my heartbeat instantly stopped. Electricity kept coursing through my body, the flesh already severely burned, emitting a charred odor. How could? You weren't kidnapped by Ethan Reed at all. Jessica suddenly snapped back to reality, rushing to my side and yanking away the wires. Are you insane? If you didn't do it, why confess? Chloe rushed over and started performing chest compressions on me, yelling angrily, why admit to things you haven't done while refusing to acknowledge what you actually did? Are you out of your mind? Floating in midair, my heart was filled with indescribable pain. Those things Caleb accused me of, I never did any of them. Why should I confess? Being falsely accused today, I wished only for death, so I simply admitted to everything. But none of this matters to me anymore. I closed my eyes, waiting for the system to take me home, yet its voice never came. For some reason, though I'm already dead, my soul has remained lingering here. What on earth happened? Caleb walked in, looking at the mess everywhere with astonishment. Did Ethan mess up again? I know he never truly accepted my engagement with Sophia, but I never thought he'd make such a terrible mistake again. Sophia stared blankly at my body on the ground, her expression indecipherable. After so long of performing chest compressions, why is there still no response? Chloe stomped her feet in desperation. Could he really be dead? Jessica's expression changed instantly as she hoisted me up from the ground and dashed out with large strides. I have an emergency room downstairs, get him there for resuscitation. Watching my body being wheeled into the emergency room, a pang of sorrow struck my heart, and tears welled up in my eyes. This very emergency room was built after I endured her scolding to borrow money for her. Jessica built a drug laboratory for Caleb, inspecting it daily. Fearing for her safety, I specially installed an emergency room nearby for her. She found me disgusting, a bearer of bad luck, and spurned my kindness. I never thought this emergency room would end up being used for me. If it wasn't him, why would he admit to it? Sophia, who had been silent all along, suddenly spoke up. If he hadn't confessed to kidnapping Caleb and trying to kill him, I would never have taken action. Caleb, hiding in Sophia's arms, looked innocent as he said, yeah. Why didn't Ethan explain clearly? Even if he wanted attention, he shouldn't joke about life and death like that. Chloe looked at me in the emergency room, her fists clenched tightly. I'm afraid he thought we wouldn't believe him even if he spoke. She stared blankly at the emergency room, her dark eyes unfocused. He was really strange today, as if he truly wanted to die. The emergency room's red light flickered on, stinging my eyes with its glare. Yes, no matter what I say, they won't believe me. I've said it countless times, I'm no impostor. I'm the true heir of the Reed family. I didn't kidnap Caleb, I've never harmed anyone, everything I've done for them came from my heart. But no one believes me. He won't die. I'll save him. I need to hear his explanation in person. Jessica stared at the tightly closed doors of the emergency room. I won't let him die. What good does your permission do? He's already stopped breathing. Chloe shouted, her eyes reddened. I just checked, he's already dead. He will wake up, Sophia said calmly. His fate is unusual, he can return from death. He's died twice before and came back both times. I imagine he was counting on this very trait to gamble with life and death out of spite. This time will be no exception. He will definitely come back. The room fell into complete silence, everyone rooted to the spot. What? Returned from death? Chloe turned deathly pale, staring at Sophia in disbelief. What kind of nonsense are you saying? This isn't some movie dead means dead. 3 years ago, after you called off the engagement, you were furious he'd deceived you. To avenge Caleb, you took revenge on him yourself. Sophia looked at Chloe. At that time, you kept breaking his limbs, then healing him, keeping him barely alive, but he did die once in between. I happened to pass by the hospital and saw his body. Thinking we'd known each other, I wanted to contact someone to arrange his funeral, but before I could find anyone, he woke up again. He was mumbling to himself, stumbling out of the hospital while crying, barely keeping his balance as he fled. Chloe staggered back, shaking her head in disbelief. No way. I couldn't have killed Ethan. I was just angry that he lied to me. The emergency room door opened, and the doctor shook his head with a sigh. Chloe's face turned pale as she rushed in, shaking my body. "Wake up! Get up and tell me this isn't true." Jessica's face was ghastly pale, her eyes dark and inscrutable. "You said he died twice, was the second time also in the hospital?" Sophia nodded expressionlessly. "Yes. You took so much blood from him. I thought then he'd lost too much. But when I checked his body, I found he was already dead." She watched me die again, only to revive shortly after. How could this be? Jessica stared at the blood-stained clothes on me, murmuring incessantly, "Did I kill him? For Caleb, did I kill him with my own hands?" She held me tightly in her arms, her face twisted with pain. I stood frozen, staring blankly at Sophia. "So the senior knew everything all along. That's why this time when I electrocuted him, I was certain he would resurrect. It was just to teach him a lesson, so he won't provoke Caleb again in the future." Sophia said calmly with full confidence, "He will definitely come back to life." Hearing this, the bitterness and resentment in my heart could no longer be suppressed. I shook my head with a wry smile. "The chance to revive has been exhausted. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint them. This time, I won't be coming back." "But if he couldn't die and could have just run off with the money to live a carefree life, why would he keep harming you and enduring our hatred and torment?" Jessica turned deathly pale and suddenly looked at Caleb Vance. "He didn't need to do any of this at all." Caleb staggered slightly, a flicker of panic crossing his face. "Or, maybe because he wasn't satisfied." "How should I know? Not satisfied. What does your petty conflict matter compared to immortality?" Chloe's expression darkened as she glared at Caleb. "Did he really kidnap you and torture you?" Caleb's face changed, a venomous glint flashing briefly in his eyes before he regained his composure. "Chloe, how could you doubt me? Have you forgotten you were also harmed by imposters? You know how scheming they can be." Chloe stared straight at him, her expression suddenly changing. Her gaze was icy as she stepped closer to Caleb, one step at a time. "There's one thing I've always wondered. How did you know you were the young master of the Reed family?" Caleb stiffened, trembling as he put distance between them. "You claimed Ethan Reed stole your parents from you since childhood, making you suffer. But how did you manage to track the Reed family across half the country so precisely? And where did you get that DNA report in your hand?" Chloe screamed angrily, shoving him. "Ethan has always been gentle and caring, staying by my side since childhood. He's never even left this city." "When exactly did he steal your parents? When did he make you suffer?" Her voice cut off abruptly as Chloe froze in place. Ethan Reed wasn't lying. Her voice trembled with dread. "He's the true heir of the Reed family." Jessica's face turned pale as she frantically grabbed Caleb's hand. "So it was you who lied? What's the deal with that DNA report in your hand? Why did we instinctively believe you?" No, I didn't." Caleb shook his head at Sophia. "Sophia, don't you believe me either?" Sophia looked moved and quietly walked over to his side. "Caleb, don't be sad. Of course I trust you." The next second, she suddenly struck, twisting Caleb's arms behind his back. "But I also want to get to the truth of the matter. You'd better confess honestly." Back to the laboratory. They were going to torture him for a confession. I never thought Sophia would be willing to electrocute Caleb. Caleb let out a piercing howl, pleading desperately. I hovered in the air, my heart pounding with excitement. Though I was already dead, I felt equally bewildered and urgently needed to uncover the truth. Why couldn't I ever escape Caleb's torment? How exactly did he manage it? Second by second, Sophia's face grew paler. He wouldn't say anything. She threw Caleb to the ground, her face darkening. He only suffered for a short while, and even when I increased the voltage, it couldn't hurt him anymore. My heart sank, and I was utterly disappointed. How could this be? Jessica turned pale. Could what he said actually be true? Could he really be my brother, and Ethan be the fake one? Impossible. Chloe roared. I remember everything clearly now. Ethan grew up in the Reed family, and before the coming-of-age ceremony, he and I were together every single day. Ethan never had a chance to go out and harm him. I don't know what underhanded tricks he used to forge that DNA report, but genuine DNA testing can't detect the fabrication. Sophia's gaze turned icy, her voice trembling slightly. The fact that something so unnatural passes undetected proves there's a bigger problem. I'm afraid there's truly something sinister behind this. Caleb was locked up, yet they still couldn't bring themselves to harm Caleb. Though their instincts told them something was wrong, they couldn't bear to wrongfully accuse Caleb. I hoped I could wake up. With a cold laugh, I thought they were daydreaming. I was thoroughly dead. And now I'm just waiting for the system to take me home. I won't wake up anyway. I don't want to wake up either. The three of them kept vigil by my corpse day and night, waiting for me to resurrect so they could hear the truth from me personally. But as days passed, there wasn't the slightest sign of me waking up. You said he would resurrect, that he would definitely wake up, didn't you? Jessica clutched Sophia's clothes, her voice trembling. You really saw him resurrect before, didn't you? Sophia was no longer confident and composed. Panic appeared on her face. Every day she personally checked my breathing, terrified of missing the moment I might wake. Jessica contacted mysterious organizations both domestic and abroad, trying desperately to find answers that would wake me. Chloe went practically insane, insisting on massaging and washing me every day, refusing to stop even when completely exhausted. But I still hadn't woken up. He's really dead. Throwing herself at my side again, Chloe wailed in agony. He's dead. He'll never wake up again. She suddenly stood up and shoved Sophia violently. It's you. You killed him. She acted like a madwoman, pulling and hitting Sophia, but ignoring the pain, she poured the liquid in her hand into my mouth. This is a folk remedy I sought out, she said with a pallid face. A mysterious organization gave it to me. I traded my Hayes Group shares for it. Jessica jolted in shock, and even Chloe froze in place. She sold her shares in Hayes Group, all for those quacks' folk remedies. The Hayes Group had been operating for generations, amassing an incalculable fortune. Yet she actually sold it. Sophia Hayes actually went this far for me. As that mysterious liquid entered my body, I began to feel gradually feverish. My floating soul paused midair, then instantly got sucked back into my body lying on the hospital bed. This damned folk remedy actually worked. System, save me. I desperately called out to the system, not wanting to revive again. I want to go home. I want to die. But the system didn't respond to my pleas, and my soul returned to my body. I could only watch helplessly as my body warmed up and grew soft again. I was about to wake up. Why is dying so damn hard? I opened my eyes and stared blankly at the ceiling. He'd clearly already died, yet they forcibly brought him back to life. Sophia's eyes were red as she looked at me through joyful tears. The folk remedy worked. You're finally awake. Chloe kept wiping her tears away, while Jessica clung tightly to my hand, refusing to let go. Are you all out of your damn minds? I spoke slowly, my gaze shifting between their faces. When I wanted to live, they tortured me and killed me twice over. When I wanted to die, they still tortured me, murdered me with their own hands, then desperately tried to revive me. I want to die. Why did you save me? I wanted to scream, to curse at them, but not a single word would come out. Ethan, we know you're wronged, that you're full of resentment. We admit we were wrong. Jessica's voice choked with emotion. As long as you're alive and well, we'll do anything. Anything goes? I stared blankly at them, a mocking smile creeping across my face. Fine. Then I want you to kill Caleb Vance. Didn't they suspect Caleb was up to no good for bringing me to such misery? Then kill him. Ethan, even if Caleb did wrong before, killing him, that's too cruel. Jessica couldn't bear the thought. We misunderstood you before, and Caleb has already suffered electric shocks as punishment. Sophia also spoke up. I know you harbor resentment, but you're alive again now. Everyone's happy. Why add more bloodshed? I let out a derisive laugh. See? Nothing ever changes. Even if I died 100 times and was resurrected 100 times, even if I suspected Caleb of wrongdoing, they couldn't bear to truly harm him. Chloe suddenly spoke up, her tone resolute. I'll take you away from here. We'll find somewhere else to live a good life, never getting involved with Caleb again. All right? I turned to look at her, my heart filled with sorrow. Too late. Had she said those words years ago, I would have gladly left with her to find some picturesque place of mountains and clear waters. Marrying her would have meant a loving marriage, but now it's too late. I've already lost all hope in them entirely. Not a shred of affection remains. Even if all three of them were to repent now, I wouldn't want to stay in this world any longer. This lifetime's mission can never be completed. Slowly, I close my eyes, unwilling to speak with them any further. How I wish I could wake up to find myself already dead, leaving this world and returning home. But when I opened my eyes again, what I saw was Caleb Vance. Why are you so damned hard to kill? Is it just because you're the protagonist, shielded by some righteous system? He held a knife, tapping it against my cheek. Don't look so surprised. Did you think you were the only one with a system? Caleb burst into laughter at my stunned expression. You're such a fool, he said, pouring your heart out for a bunch of NPCs, throwing caution to the wind for them. Truth be told, I've got a mission to complete too, and a system to match. My task just happens to be stopping yours, to destroy this world. I see. No wonder he could always precisely sabotage my plans. He had so many unconventional methods beyond ordinary imagination. No matter whom I target next, he can adapt and foil my plans accordingly. He doesn't love them at all. He's specifically sabotaging my missions. He can produce evidence to ruin my relationship with Chloe, drive a wedge between Jessica and me, and make Sophia hate me so much. He can even tamper with DNA test results, because he also has system assistance. Why don't you just kill me directly? I said, mentally and physically exhausted. Kill me, and your mission would be instantly accomplished. Caleb's expression darkened as he smirked coldly. Killing you outright would be too boring. After all the missions I've carried out, nothing pleases me more than watching people writhe in agony. Torturing you is the real delight. See, I don't even have to kill you, and you're already crumbling in despair. But now I have no choice but to kill you. The female leads of this world are too difficult to deal with. They've already sensed something's wrong with me and are starting to develop feelings for you again. Ah, what a headache. Ethan Reed, I might as well send you on your way. The moment the words fell, the knife flashed coldly, viciously thrusting towards me. No! The door burst open as Jessica knocked the knife away. At the same time, Chloe planted a solid kick into Caleb's leg. Sophia's face turned deathly pale as she punched him square in the chest, making him spit up a mouthful of blood. So, you're the one behind all of this? Chloe, Jessica, and Sophia surrounded Caleb, taking turns to interrogate him. They discovered Caleb was missing and followed the trail to my doorstep. Little did they expect to overhear his words at the entrance. This time they showed no mercy, taking turns to torture him, desperate to wrench more truths from his lips. Seizing the moment while they were distracted, I quietly picked up the knife from the ground. Truth and lies, right and wrong, none of it mattered anymore. In the darkest moments of my past, I always thought that an apology only counted if others suffered as much as I did. But now I've grown weary and disillusioned with this world. In the end, the only one truly in pain is still me. Ethan, don't. The knife plunged deep into my chest, making me cough up blood as I collapsed limply into a pair of soft, waiting arms. Ethan, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. Sophia held me tightly, frantically wiping the blood from my mouth. You can't die. We owe you so much, we still need to repay you. Jessica had completely lost her composure, her face streaked with tears. Brother, I'm your sister. I need you to live. Chloe threw herself beside me, pleading desperately, don't you love me best? You've been glued to me every day since we were children. From now on, let's be together every day. I leaned against Sophia's chest, trembling uncontrollably as I felt my life force draining away rapidly. It hurts, each death before this one hurt too, I whispered. But I don't want to stay here anymore. With a soundless curl of my lips, I struggled to part them. If you truly know your wrongs, spend the rest of your lives making amends. Never fall into darkness for the rest of your life. Bring peace to this world instead. Darkness enveloped my vision, and before my consciousness faded, I heard their heart-wrenching, desperate cries. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the real world. Sitting on the bed, a voice suddenly echoed in my mind from the system. Congratulations, host. Mission complete. Mission accomplished? I stood frozen in place. How could the mission possibly be completed? I hadn't successfully charmed even one CEO, let alone won any woman's genuine affection, nor achieved 100% favorability with anyone. According to the original trajectory, all three heroines were destined to fall into darkness and destroy the world. Only sincere love could soothe the shadows in their hearts and save humanity. Though you never reached 100% favorability while alive, your death maxed out their affection. You successfully prevented their fall into darkness. That world ultimately found peace. The system explained the mission to me and showed me the developments after my death. The three of them fought fiercely over possession of my body, nearly causing global chaos. But at the final moment, recalling my dying words, they ultimately stopped. My corpse was preserved intact, never to decay. Sophia personally led Caleb to Sterling Tower and jumped off the building with him, leaving no remains. Chloe acquired the institution, preserving my corpse, watching my remains day and night without ever leaving its side. She tormented herself daily, breaking her own arms and legs, waiting for them to heal only to break them again, repeating the cycle endlessly. Jessica reopened the laboratory. She seemed to have gone mad, gathering mysterious teens from around the world, stubbornly seeking a way to revive me once more. All three heroines met tragic, remorseful ends, yet not a single one of them succumbed to darkness. We've captured the system hidden within Caleb Vance. They've been traveling between worlds, committing numerous major crimes. The system gave me a huge surprise. The master deity has decided to compensate you with all his ill-gotten gains from various worlds. After all, it was our oversight that caused you so much harm. Looking at the long string of digits now on my account, I could barely contain my excitement. Host 00723, thank you for saving the world multiple times and risking everything for peace. From now on, may everything go smoothly for you. Please enjoy your real life to the fullest. The system solemnly bid me farewell, vanishing from my mind for the last time. I got up from bed, pushed open the window, and let the sunlight wash over me. The weather is clear outside, and everything is worth anticipating. Hello, future. The end.